I want you to remember that this movie started with Superman and Lois Lane grinding on each other in a bathtub, and now here we are. Superman's dead. Are you paying attention? Are you locked in? Because I am, and I think I'm about to lose it. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mo, short for Magical Mr. Mistopheles, like the Cats character. Yeah, I was named after a Cats character. Yep. Yay! So we're gonna be talking about the 2016 film Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. This movie is kind of bonkers. It's a little all over the place. It's really long, and I watched the whole thing while my parents were at a Christmas party, and I just sat there in my pajamas, taking notes, watching this movie, wanting to die. So yeah, I did not like this movie, and I was talking to my mom about it, and she was like, probably because this movie wasn't made for you. And she's right, this movie was definitely made for men, and I'm a girly pop, you know, like I think you can tell I'm a little girly. And if you know anything about me, which you don't know a lot, but you know from one video I've made so far, that I like goofy, silly Batman media. I don't like serious Batman media too often. I'm not saying it can't be good.
I like serious Batman media time to time. I love the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. I like the Arkham games.
I like serious stuff sometimes, but I like silly things more often than not. Anyways, we're gonna get into it as quick as humanly possible. Whew. So this movie has an opening sequence, and it's a dream Batman's having about his parents' funeral or whatever. And we see bats because, you know, Batman. And then he wakes up and, you know, it's just a dream. Okay, sure. So then he's in Metropolis. And I'm assuming this is related to the Man of Steel movie that came out a few years prior, because Superman is in Metropolis having a big fight with General Zod, which General Zod won't come back, but his corpse will. we'll get into that. So he's dealing with this. He's trying to get into the city to help people. And this man gets crushed under support beams. Like, his legs get crushed, and he is now paralyzed. Don't worry, this character will come back later. That's really fun. So anyways, after we see this scene, and we kind of just see Metropolis getting, like, destroyed, and Batman's there, and he's just, like, he's there. I don't really know what we were supposed to gather from the scene other than it's establishing the man who's in the wheelchair, so I guess that makes sense. Anyways, moving on. We get like a cut 18 months later in India, and we see they found kryptonite that was on the ocean floor, and we later find out that Lex Luthor was the one who was looking for that kryptonite, and so that kryptonite's gonna be in his hands now. That's great. That's not great, but that's great. So yeah, anyways, then we cut. And I know it seems crazy, but you're just gonna have to understand that scene's just like that. There's a lot we gotta get through, babe. Let's go. So then, in the most basic of terms, Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane are going to visit a, like, terrorist? It's not really specified. Organization in Africa that is, like, going through a civil war, and they're interviewing, like, the leader or whatever, which, like, fair enough. Anyways, it's found out that Jimmy is working for, like, the CIA. The people in the camp, the terrorist camp, whatever, are not very happy about being caught. So they're like, they killed Jimmy. 15 minutes into the movie, rest in peace. You're gone but not forgotten in my heart. Anyways, so now Lois is being held hostage because they think she's a part of the Jimmy thing, but she's not. She had no idea. Anyway, Superman shows up and he saves her. Makes sense, because in this movie they are dating. So. And then Lex Luthor's boys show up to this camp, and they make it look like Superman killed all these people by killing all these people, putting their bodies together and loading it up, like loading their bodies into piles and lighting it on fire. Great, cool. So then we cut to a new cool scene in a court, or like a government building in America, and we see this woman on the stand testifying that Superman murdered her parents who were living in that camp in Africa, or like that village. I don't think it was a camp. It looked like a camp, but it was probably a village. And how Superman must be stopped, and that the government lady who's like holding the hearing is like, yeah, I agree. We cut to Gotham. We cut to Gotham City. My brain turned off. So we cut to Gotham City, and people are like, and like the police are like, okay, let's check out this abandoned building because there's been like reports or whatever. Batman isn't working with the police in this movie. I want you to know that. Keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your brain. It's not important, but it will come up. So anyways, these women who look like they've been human trafficked are so scared of Batman they refuse to get out of a cage, which is actually diabolical, and I don't have enough oxygen to explain to you why, and if I did, we would be here all day. There's not enough hours in the day to explain this. So anyways, Batman's like trapped someone on like a heater, and he's like insinged a bat logo into them. Yikes. That will come up later because he's basically marking people for death so that in prisons they will get killed. Thanks, Batman. Anyways, he's on the wall like this, and the police are shooting at him, but he just scurries out of the room the same way a spider does when I scream and cry because I saw a spider. Lois is in her shared apartment now with Superman. This is a new scene, and we get to watch as she's looking at Jimmy's like notebook, and she finds a bullet in it, and she's like, right? Anyways, now she has the bullet out and she's taking a shower, and Superman shows up and he's like, I was gonna make you dinner, but I guess you're already home. That sucks. I can't surprise you. And she's like, you should break up with me because things are getting really like serious and unsafe for you, and I just don't want people to come after you if they find out about us dating. And he's like, I don't really care, baby. Let's kiss. And then they start having sex in the bathtub, and I wish I could tell you how horrific that was, but I can't. Zack Snyder, please DM me on Instagram. I want financial compensation for what you put me through seeing just that one scene. I did not deserve that. That was unfair to my poor eyeballs. And I'm not going to show you. Everyone say, thank you, Mo. Thank you. I'm not going to show you that. You don't deserve that. You can search it up on Google if you want to. Just search Batman v Superman bathtub scene. And I hope you regret it, because you really shouldn't do that. Anyways, I'm sick. So anyways, now we're at LexCorp, and we see that Lex Luthor is just a stupid twink. Ew. He looks like an off-brand Michael Cera. No offense to this actor, but they are just making you look like an off-brand Michael Cera. And he's talking to these government officials, and he's like, I want some funding or something for kryptonite. Doesn't really matter, he won't get it. Anyways, spoiler alert. Anyways, we then see him walking into like a building in LexCorp that's holding General Zod's entire fucking spaceship. The man whose legs got crushed under the support beams earlier in the movie, yeah, him. He is now he like climbs up the statue of Superman in Metropolis's park, and he spray prints the words false god on it, and this gets Lex Luthor's attention, and he will come up later, and that what I just said will come up later, trust me. So then we cut to a cool news scene where Superman goes to the apartment of the woman who said Superman killed her parents as Clark Kent, and he's like trying to look for her, but her neighbors are like, she hasn't been back in a while, so we don't really know where she is. We don't know when she's coming back. So cut to the Daily Planet, and Superman is like, hey, can I write a paper about how Batman is marking people for death? Because I think that's like an important serious topic and we should bring that up. And Perry's like, no, write us something that'll make us money. Don't do actual journalism, stupid fucking idiot. Whatever. Lois Lane is going to DC, and she didn't tell her boyfriend she's living with that she's going to DC. So he's a little upset because he's like, well, why didn't you at least alert me? Because like we live together. Like this is like not a big deal. You can do what you want, but like you should notify your roommates, you know? I agree. And the government lady are talking, and we find out Lex Luthor has daddy issues, which really is not that surprising. The government lady is like, I hate Superman, but I don't hate Superman that much, so we're not really gonna go forward with any of the plans you had. And she's like, I would never, even if you were selling like peach juice, I would never buy it. Which is just like a fancy, she just means like snake oil. But the reason I specifically said that is because it will be important later. Keep that in mind, back of your head, lock it in. So yeah, Bruce Wayne is old and he's gross and he cannot cope with his dead parents, and so that's why Wayne Manor is completely rotted in this movie. So he's living in a house on the property of Wayne Manor, but he's not in Wayne Manor. Anyways, he has a dream about going back to Wayne Manor, specifically specifically the mausoleum his parents are buried in, and he gets jump scared by like a CGI bat popping out of the mausoleum. Cool. So then he like is like with like a girl he had a one night stand with, and he takes some pills with alcohol, which in the 2 other versions of this video that once existed, I went into detail about how you probably shouldn't do that, but we're not going to talk about that. Just know that as someone who has taken medication, don't think you're supposed to take alcohol when you take the medication. That seems like a bad idea. Alfred makes a passing comment about how there's definitely not going to be a next generation of Waynes, and if there were, they won't inherit a wine cellar. And all I could think was, based on the way he lives, his sperm count is 0. His balls are shriveled. There is nothing in there. He is not having kids anyways. Cool. Batman's like, I need to get to Lex Luthor's house to get some info from him because I think he's up to something, but I don't know how to get in. And Alfred's like, well, you don't have to. You got invited to a party of his. And he's like, great. So we see a montage of him getting ready, and he looks at the Robin suit because Robin in this universe is dead. Don't know which one it is. Don't know if it's Dick or Jason. I've seen people say Dick. I've seen some people say Jason. I have no idea. But no matter which one it is, they're both right here. So it doesn't really matter, because look at them. They're alive in their boxes. Anyways, he's at the party, and he gets like he puts like a machine that copies information onto like a Lex Luthor machine, so he can like take the data without him noticing, whatever. He has a conversation with Superman outside of suit, and Superman's like, do you agree with Batman and what he's doing in Metropolis? And Batman's like, no comment. You're really trying to out yourself, girl. I would have said no. Even if I did agree, would have said no. Would have kept me away. Anyways, he goes back to retrieve his thing so that he can have Lex Luthor's data, but Superman's suspicious, so he's following him, but then he sees that like a place is under attack, so he goes and he takes care of that. Great. After all that happens, Wonder Woman actually beats him to get his stuff, and she takes it, and like the badass 2,000-year-old grandma she is, she takes it and she speeds away, and Batman is like, ew, women, gross. Anyways, so we see Superman saves this girl from a fire, and everyone is like touching him as he brings the girl out, and he looks up with like this expression. It's the same expression I make in thumbnails, you know, like the yeah, it's like that, and I don't know why he's making that face, but he's making that face. Someone said Among Us, so I wrote that down because I don't know if you can see it, but Among Us. We see that Clark calls home and he asks his mom about his dad because his dad is dead. You know, like not every adaptation, but a lot of adaptations, Superman's dad is dead because it's supposed to show him that he can't save everyone because time will always kill you. Rough. Rough. Anyways, his dad is dead. And Mama Kent says something, and she says, nothing is simple in terms to, like, loving people or whatever the fuck, because love is a big motif in this film for some reason. Sure. The way she talked to Clark is the same way I talk about Jason Todd. Like, same tone, same motherly tone. Hi, Jason Todd. Anyways, say hi. Hi, say hi to him. Before, Batman's marking people for death in prisons. I think I said that before. I don't know anymore. He's marking people for death so that guards or prisoners can kill other people in prison that he doesn't like, because fuck reform, it's all about killing. This is an edgy take on Batman, and edgy Batman kills and uses guns. Sure. I don't like this. I don't agree, that's not correct. I could go into why I don't like that, but we won't for the sake of time. You don't want to sit here all day, and I don't either. So anyways, Superman shows up to where this guy that he marked at the beginning of the movie, the one attached to the heater, he's getting transferred to a Metropolis prison. So Superman shows up and he wants to see the guy because he wants to like talk to him and like interview him or whatever, but he can't get in. But instead he sees the guy's wife and he asks the wife a couple questions and she's like, I don't like Batman because he thinks he is judge, jury, and executioner, and I don't agree with that. And like, correct, whatever. Lois is in DC and she's like, hey, politician, can you test this bullet for me? Because I keep going to places and they cannot figure out who made this bullet. I need help. And he's like, no, I don't want to lose my job. Correct, biblically accurate, correct representation of a US politician. They don't want to do things because they don't want to lose their spot, their job. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is now here in this museum, and this like museum curator is like, look, Gal Gadot, look at this sword of Alexandria. And Batman shows up next to her and he's like, it's a fake one. And she's like, yeah, I know, the real one got sold on the black market in 83 because I'm old and I know things. And they have like a conversation, and I don't know, I wrote in my notes that I can't believe people ship these two because it feels like Gal Gadot is trying everything in her power to seem like she does not like this man. Like, I don't know how you could ship these two. Whatever. Don't do that. So, Gal Gadot calls him a little boy, which is true because her character is like over 2,000 years old. Anyways, she hands him the thing that she took from him, so now he can use that. And he's like downloading the information now on his back computer back at home, and he has like this whole post-apocalyptic sequence dream, which I went into a lot of detail about in the previous recordings of this video, but like, it's unimportant because it never comes up again. Anyways, when he wakes up from his dream, this guy from the future says, you were right about Superman. Lois Lane is the key. I don't know who this character is. I don't know why he's important. He never shows up again. But that right there was enough proof for Bruce that he needs to attack Superman. So he finds out where Lex's kryptonite is. It's on a ship being sent to Metropolis. So he's like, okay, I need to get on that ship. I need to steal that kryptonite. And Alfred's like, okay, you're gonna destroy it, right? Right? And Batman's like, no, I need it so I can kill him. And Alfred's like, don't go to war. You know, he could be a great ally. This is stupid. You're stupid. And Batman's like, fuck you. I can do whatever I want. We're halfway through this. Hallelujah. Watching a scene of Batman at the docks, and he's like shooting people, and I think he killed some people. And like shooting in his Batmobile and stuff, trying to get to the ship, but he ultimately never gets there. Spoiler alert! And instead, Batman and him have the second interaction of the movie. These two characters who are building up to hate each other have only interacted twice before the climax. This is so stupid. If maybe they interacted more and had an emotional connection or a falling out of a friendship, this would mean more. I don't know if you heard my mother, but I hope you didn't in the recording, but we'll find out. If you're in this recording, I'm so sorry, Mom. I love you. Anyways, lovers meet. Canonical lovers right there. Lovers. I hope I pissed someone off by making that joke. Superman tells Batman to stop what he's doing, you know, like killing people, and Batman's like, no, fuck you, do you bleed?
Next time they shine your light in the sky, don't go to it. The bat is dead. Bury it. Consider this mercy. Tell me. Do you bleed? You will.
And that made my womb... It made my womb shrivel up and die. I don't know though, if Kevin Conroy said it, I might like it. I might even live, laugh, love it. But because it's a voice modulator Ben Affleck, it's so cringe I physically died.
You played.
He doesn't get the kryptonite. Mission failed. Womp womp. But Lex gets his kryptonite that he was on that ship, and he's like, "Yay, kryptonite!" Lois is back cornering the same politician, and she's desperate to get the bullet tested. And he finally caves, and he tests the bullet. Yay! So now we see Clark in Kansas, and he's talking to his mom, and his mom's like, "You're not a killer. You didn't do that." And yeah, she's right. And the woman whose family died from Superman confesses that she got paid to say that, and her parents are fine and alive, and it was all a lie. Yikes. She says that to like the U.S. politicians, because they're gonna have like a hearing to like hold Superman accountable for what he did. Yikes. So then the U.S. politician gets back to Lois, and she says that this bullet came from Lex, and she realizes Lex Luthor is setting up Superman to look bad. To run this story, but Perry won't let her before the hearing, and like all this stuff. This is all building up to something, I promise. So then we're having the hearing, and they're like, "I hope Superman shows up to this hearing so we can hold him accountable for what he's done." And he shows up, and Lex Luthor is really excited. The guy in the wheelchair is there in his new wheelchair that Lex gave him. So that's really fun. I was really scared we were going to listen to a court hearing, but we're not. Because what happens is that the government lady sees beside her like podium stand thing, she sees like the words like peach water or whatever, and she realizes she's been set up by Lex Luthor because Lex isn't in the building anymore, and a bomb goes off and the Capitol building blows up, and everyone in there except Superman fucking dies. And we see a shot of him really upset, probably because his PR is down the drain, his good reputation gone. Sucks. The reason he didn't realize it was a bomb is because it was in the wheelchair and it was lined with lead, so of course he was never gonna notice. So that's fun. During this, Batman was watching the hearing, and he was getting like these like letters saying mean things about his parents or whatever, and he thought they were from Clark. They're not. They're from, or like Superman. They're not. They're from Lex trying to manipulate the situation. That's great. Lex is at LexCorp right now, and he's excited because he got his kryptonite, but Batman stole the kryptonite from him already, so, because he's going to use it to make weapons to kill Superman. We're almost done. I promise we're almost done. We're getting closer and closer. Just, are you following? Are you paying attention? I hope you are. So, Superman, they're not sure to blame Superman or not, because they think the guy in the wheelchair was the one who set off the bomb, but they think Superman was, like, working with him in tangent. Yikes. Anyways, Lex Luthor, with this, like, a tiny bit of kryptonite, cut off General Zod's blueprints, like, fingerprints, and put them on, like, on the ship so he could unlock the ship, and now he's, like, looking into, like, the ship stuff and, like, the history of kryptonite or whatever, so that's really great. And now we're getting to watch a montage of Batman shaping kryptonite weapons and things like that, and it's really repulsive to watch Ben Affleck, so just know that it was really hard to watch that. He's training to fight Superman, and he's building weapons to kill Superman. Bruce is, like, researching, and he realizes that Diana, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, she's everywhere in history, and he realizes that he doesn't realize she's Wonder Woman because he doesn't know who Wonder Woman is, but he realizes she's immortal to some degree, and that she's not normal. She's a metahuman, right? And so Lex Luthor takes General Zod's body, and he slices his hand open and puts his blood on General Zod's body, and he tells the ship to, like, mutate or, like, merge their DNA, and the ship's like, "That's a mutation, I shouldn't do that." And he's like, "No, you will, because no one's here to stop me." Mwahahaha. Cool. Cool. Superman talks to his mom. Superman, he's really upset about what's happening, so he goes to Spain to hike in some mountains, like you do. And he has a vision on top of a mountain of his dead dad. And he asks his dad if he's ever had nightmares, and he said, "Yeah, and then I met your mom," which means love cures everything, and love will be important at the end of this movie for some reason. This My Little Pony bullshit somehow made it into my Zack Snyder movie. So Bruce is like standing in the Old Wayne Manor, and Alfred's like, dude, you should not do this. Don't fight Superman. This is ridiculous. And Batman's like, I have to. It's my legacy. And Alfred's like, no, it's not. Your family's legacy is helping people. And Bruce goes on this whole monologue about how the Waynes started as hunters, and he's about to hunt Superman. And Alfred says, so falls the house of Wayne. And that was a hard line. I'll give Zack Snyder credit, so that's great. Mama Kent gets captured and by Lex, and she's gonna become part of a hostage situation, so that's great. We're near the climax. Be excited. Lois gets captured as well by Lex, and they have a conversation, and she's like, you're a monster, you're stupid, because by the way, Lex knows that Clark Kent is Superman. And anyways, he throws her off the building, but Superman saves her, and then he goes up to talk to Superman, and he's like, why do you hate me so much? And he's like, because I don't and I'm not even kidding, the reason he has done all of these things is because he does not believe that Superman is actually nice. Like, he doesn't believe someone could be that nice to anyone, period. Nice enough to help people. And that is such a weak motivation. Oh my god. And what's worse is that this entire movie could have been avoided if Superman and Batman communicated with each other, like, once. So stupid, it makes me want to bash my head against a wall. Whatever. So, Lex calls him Clark, and Clark is like, oh, you know, I'm Clark Kent, and Lex is basically like, you have 30 minutes, and if you don't go kill Batman over in Gotham City waiting for you, I'm gonna kill your mom, so get to it. So Lex is all giddy or whatever, and he's like, bye, go kill Batman. And so then Superman is basically like, bye, Lois, I'm gonna go kill Batman, or try to convince him to work with me, or I'll be dead. We'll find out. And so then, what's her face? Lois, she's freaking out, and so she's like, I gotta get myself over to Gotham City to save my boyfriend. Sure. Wonder Woman gets an email from Batman being like, I know who you are, and there's other metahuman out there, which is just teasing the Justice League. It was really great, though, to see Jason Momoa, aka Lobo, you know, if you know, you know. Those who know. Anyways, so, yeah, that's cool. That's super cool. We see that, so we're just cheesing the Justice League, whatever. Now the climax of the movie is finally happening, and Superman is like, we can't fight, Lex wants us to fight, and Batman's like, fuck you. And so they fight on the abandoned Gotham City Police Department building, and they're fighting, and they're fighting, and they're fighting, and Lois shows up, and she's like, no, you can't kill him, we have to save his mom, Martha. And Batman's like, Martha? Who the fuck is Martha? And he's like, my mom, my mommy. And I'm not kidding, he does this, like, Gerard Butler 2004 Family Opera thing where he walks away from the, like, the couple, and he's like, and he has, like, a moment where he realizes he's been an asshole the whole movie. Crazy. Anyway, so then they're like, okay, we gotta save your mom. So Batman has a whole scene where he goes and he kills a bunch of people with his fun guns, because he's definitely lobbying the government to have guns. And he saves Mama Kent, and that's great. And while all of this is happening, General Zod's body is now becoming this cool new thing called Doomsday, but I like to call it General Zod Godzilla because that's cooler. Now they have to deal with that, and the first thought is the government, the US government, like they do, they launch a missile at it, and the missile just makes it stronger. So then they realize that and then Superman's fighting it for a while, and they realize this is a kryptonite thing, and the only, like, a Kryptonian thing, so the only thing that'll kill it is kryptonite, but Batman only has 2 kryptonite bullets left in his gun. Also, by the way, Wonder Woman has now joined the fight, and there's this scene where they're like, is she with you? I thought she was with you. And Wonder Woman's just like, shut up, I'm a lesbian. I don't know. So that's really fun. General Zod, Godzilla, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are now all fighting. basically right now they're kind of just trying to basically placate the Thing because they don't really know what to do, but Superman is the one who realizes they need to get a Kryptonian weapon. And the only Kryptonian weapon really left is the Kryptonian spear. However, it is stuck under rubble from the depleted Gotham City Police Department. And so Lois is trying to get it, but then she almost drowns, so Superman saves her ass, and he's like, I know what I have to do. And she's like, no, don't do this, I love you. And he's just like, bye. And so he goes and he flies really fast, and he stabs the Thing in the heart, but the Kryptonian aura was making him weak, and so General Zod stabs him himself, and he falls. And so the Holy Trinity, which was just put together, and when I say Holy Trinity, I don't mean Father, Son, or the Holy Spirit. I mean Zionist, Predator, and Old. They're now all, they were just reunited, and they're all done. They're gone. I want you to remember that this movie started with Superman and Lois Lane grinding on each other in a bathtub, and now here we are. Superman's dead. Are you paying attention? Are you locked in? Because I am, and I think I'm about to lose it. So, anyways, only Lois is sad because the other two barely know the guy, and they're just like, oh, rest in peace. So then a funeral scene happens. Lex Luthor gets put in prison. He finally gets shaved, and so now he's bald. Cool. So, anyways, the only time two women talk to each other this entire movie is Mama Kent goes up to Lois at the funeral that's being held on the Kent farm, and she basically is like, he was gonna give this to you, and it was an engagement ring, he was gonna propose, but now he's dead. And so she's like, womp womp. So that's fun. So anyways, now Superman is dead, and Batman and Wonder Woman are talking, and Batman's like, I'm thinking of starting a league, a metahuman, superhuman Justice League. And Wonder Woman's like, why? And she's like, and he's like, for Superman, you know, I'm gonna do this for Superman. And she's just like, okay, sure, why not? And so then the movie almost ends, but we see Batman was about to, he's sending Lex to Arkham Asylum, but he was gonna singe a bat logo into the guy, but he missed because the alarms went off. Womp womp. And then the last scene in the movie is the dirt on Superman's grave rising, because he's not actually dead. He's just in hibernation. And that's the movie. Yep. Yay! That was great. I hated it so much. And I think the reason I hated it so much was because things just didn't happen. I don't know how to explain it, but because there's no emotional connection that the characters have, it's really bad. I think this movie would have been better if Batman and Superman had been friends. And it was a falling out kind of thing. And because they were falling out already, Lex Luthor's manipulation would have made more sense. I also would have made Lex have a better motivation than, because you're nice, I don't trust you. I would have put more women in it. I wouldn't have made it look gritty, and everyone would have been in go-go boots and thongs. That's it. I'm Mo. Goodbye, America. Oh my god.